Well, in that last segment, I was actually talking about my experience on September 11th as being the most dramatic call for a reality check. Like, what is real? If God is, then this is absolutely impossible that this be happening, even though it's so apparent. And everybody that I saw in New York was in such agreement that a terrible thing had happened. But all that week I was only going around, and for some reason I found myself channeling these lullabies, these songs. I was just rocking people in my arms and singing them a lullaby and then whispering into their ears, "My brother, I'm in your dream for just a moment to remind you you're safe, asleep in heaven, and none of this is real because God is an all-loving God. This could never happen because it's not His will." And people would just step back and just be, "Oh, I didn't expect to hear that. I expected you to console me for my grief." They didn't expect to hear it. But then they would just go, "Thank you. That's what I really needed to hear in that moment. That God is and this isn't." And so for a whole week, that's all I did. And in the week afterwards, it was Tuesday, and they had decided to open up the financial district. And so we were in Union Square, of course, of all great places. We were all in Union Square, and there were about 40 people from Endeavor Academy who had come out from Wisconsin, and were sitting there. And someone mentioned, "Let's go to Ground Zero and say a prayer." And my first thought was, this is Ground Zero? This is the place where all the devastation is happening, is in my mind and in the perception that this could happen. But everyone's going to Ground Zero, so let's go. So we all got on the subway, we got down there, and as I stepped out, I looked at all the guard workers and all of the rescue workers and all of the people who were there, and their faces were such gray and ashen, and they were in such devastation. And a voice, which I thought was a very noble, high voice, said to me, "Your happiness will appear to be an attack on these consciences, and you need to be duly reverent." And so in that moment I agreed. I said, yes, I need to dampen down my light and just be somber with these ones. And as soon as I did it, I gasped on the air. I had the first experience of breathing the air in the whole week. It was like brimstone, and it was awful. And all I did was look around me, and it began to spin, this field of everybody and all these sad, ashen faces. And I actually had the experience of being in hell. And I actually recalled the lyrics of this Leonard Cohen song that went, "Everybody knows, or everybody has this broken feeling like your father or your dog just died." I didn't even know what had happened. All I know it was terrible, it was everywhere, and I was burning in hell with everyone there. And I like I said, my knees were buckling, and I was reeling. And I saw this little Japanese-looking businessman walking next to me, and he had his head hanging down. He looked so sad and dejected. And I said, "Oh, there's my brother, he's suffering." And I reached out in order to join with him and to help him. And I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, "How are you doing with this?" And he, without looking up at me, he just said, "I am sad. I am so, so very sad." And I just whispered to him in my mind, "I'm in your dream for just a second to remind you you're safe, asleep in heaven." And I woke up again. Oh my God, that was such an instantaneous journey into the depths of hell. And then straight back. And this is all an illusion. This is all happening in the field, in my imagination. I walked 5 steps further, and my stride picked up, and the same fellow ran up to me, grabbed me by my arm, pulled himself in front of me, looked straight up in my eyes and said, "I can see that you see this is not real." So when in Course in Miracles, when Jesus says, "You summon witnesses to your state of mind," He meant that literally. You summon witnesses. I called that guy to reflect, oh, we're all in hell and we're all sad and it's all terrible. And as soon as I changed my mind about the situation, he whipped around, and as a witness says, "I can see that you see this is not real." It's like that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.